And for the record, we're still having our first big fight.
Andi and Bex have their first huge fight, so let's break it down right here on what happened. What's going on, you lovely people? Lisa here, and it is time to talk all about Andi Mack Season 2, Episode 16, Truth or Truth. Yeah, what's more dangerous than a game of Truth or Dare? A game of Truth or Truth, or possibly a game of Monopoly ripoff property. This week's episode finds Jonah switching places with Andi and being the one to talk about his Andi blues with Buffy and Cyrus. And Bex drops a bomb about her feelings for Bowie to Andi, hence causing this massive fight in this episode. So let's break it all down. The events of our episode take course over a day that should be the best day ever for a teenager. School's canceled because of a power outage, so So how does Buffy choose to spend the day? Well, she decides to get caught up on homework her new teacher in Phoenix has sent her. Yeah, seems like something Cyrus would do, right? Well, Cyrus is the one that comes in and says he wants to play the game that shall not be named, like Voldemort, because, well, it ruins lives. But Buffy's pretty much vowed to never play that stupid game again. Well, Cyrus and his little puppy dog face is just so adorable, plus he has a tricky little card up his sleeve. He has a coupon Buffy gave him when they were like 8 that says she has to play whatever board game he wants. And Buffy's like, well, crap. But wait, no, I might be out of this because there's only 2 of us and you gotta have at least 3 people to play this game. So, cue sweet little innocent Jonah walking in with perfect timing, right? Well, the trio sit down to play a game of property, which we would know as Monopoly. And yes, that is a game that can be evil, and I actually just love the game pieces that they're playing with in this version of the game. I'm pretty sure Cyrus's is like a grave, like a shovel in a pile of dirt. As the game goes on, tensions of course rise, and Buffy and Cyrus even get a little concerned about cracking Jonah's optimistic outlook on life. Because you know, this board game can crack even the happiest of people. Well, Jonah does end up cracking.
It's not over! Now it's over!
But it's not actually over the game. He's mad because of Andi. It seems like Andi hasn't been answering Jonah's texts or calls all day, so he thinks she's avoiding him, and he's not ready for their relationship to be over. So he ends up sitting down and filling in Buffy and Cyrus on what's going on, and they're actually kind of confused because Andi actually hasn't told them anything about what was going on with Jonah wanting to be a couple and all of that. Jonah's getting a tad jealous and thinks that Walker could be why she's avoiding him. Cyrus and Buffy are though like, well, you know what? She's been avoiding us all day too. She hasn't been answering us, so I don't think this has to do with you, which is kind of a relief for Jonah. So why hasn't Andi been answering anyone all day? Because Bex built an awesome kick-ass fort that I need her to come build in my room as well, so that they could spend the day together. And well, it's a no-phone zone. And let's face it, we all need that break from social media and our phones every once in a while. And honestly, if you haven't tried it for a day or even for half a day, do it, because it is actually super relaxing and like so nice. You actually can focus on everything else. Now, back to the show. So instead of playing a game of Truth or Dare or Truth or Truth, they decide to do a BFF quiz from a teen magazine. All seems fine and dandy until Andi asks the question, what is something you regret most not saying to someone and why didn't you say it? Well, Bex refuses to answer this, but you know Andi, if she wants something, she's going to prod and pry and badger you until she gets the answer that she wants, and that is exactly what she does with Bex. She guilts Bex by saying, I thought we were done with secrets and all of this, and so Bex caves and says that she regrets not saying yes to Bowie when he proposed. Well, you can kind of guess how this is gonna go, right? For a kid that wants her parents back together so badly and to have a complete family, this is like her green light to be like, okay, my plan's back on and back in action, and you need to call Bowie right now and tell him how you feel. But Bex is like, just slow your roll, girl. That's not how things work in this adult world. Like, this is way more complicated than you think. But Andi honestly can't get it through her thick skull what complicated means, and thinks that everything, like I said, will be fine and dandy if Bex just tells Bowie the truth. Meanwhile, Bex knows that Bowie's moved on, and telling him about her feelings would just complicate his life too, because maybe he has officially moved on, and even if he hasn't, that'll mess up the relationship he has going with that other woman. And yeah, basically Andi kind of needs to get her head out of the clouds and realizes that, you know, things don't just affect her, they affect everybody and shouldn't be done for her own selfish reasons, just because she wants a full family so badly. I mean, I get it. She's young, she's a teenager, and that's kind of the fantasy, but she's gotta be a little bit realistic at some points, right? So this causes Andi and Bex to have their first huge fight, so Bex goes to the one person she knows she can for help, her own mother, Cece, and I just love the evolution of this relationship, even when she gets the satisfaction of Bex having to deal with the teenage daughter that hates her now at the moment. It's so great, right? Bex knows that Cece was also Andi's mom for 13 years, so she's probably the one person Andi can talk to right now. So they go back to the house, and Cece tries to talk to Andi through the door, but they realize Andi's not there and she's taken a bunch of her stuff and run away. So where did Andi go? We see her sitting in Bowie's truck talking to him, and while it seems like she's only said that she's gotten in a fight with Bex, she asks if she can stay with him, and he says yes, but he's gonna have to tell Bex where Andi is, and that is the end of the episode. I'm honestly surprised that Andi didn't just like get in the car and blurt out that Bex regrets saying no. She wants to say yes to Bowie as soon as she saw him. Like, how come it seems like she has restraint here but not when talking to Bex? But as much as I dislike how selfish Andi is being and how childish she is, I do have to take a step back and remember she's a child, and honestly, it's kind of how you expect them to act when stuff like this happens, right? I am kind of excited though to see how Andi living with Bowie works out and to see Bowie's home life, because we've only really seen him, you know, at work and over at their house. So how does Bowie live? What does his apartment look like? That's what I want to see, and I'm excited to see that dynamic. So hopefully we do get to see that a bit more in the next episode. As far as the next episode go, let's break down this promo. We got Walker coming back into the picture, and he seems pretty interested in Andi. So how's that gonna mess with Jonah?
I'm taking you to one of my favorite art galleries.
You have a painting in an art gallery. Wow.
I'm being serious. That's why I brought you here.
We got Bowie checking in on Jonah about his panic attacks, but Jonah seems to think that maybe Bowie has told Andi about the panic attacks, and that's why she's avoiding him.
I just want to see how you were doing, you know, with your thing.
You're not going to tell Andi, right?
And we finally have our return of TJ, and seems like he confides in Cyrus, and the rivalry with Buffy is still on.
They won't let me play basketball because I can't do some stupid equations. Buffy's been right all along.
I shouldn't have told you about that. I'm dead, aren't I?
You are so dead.
And well, that wraps up this episode of Andi Mack called Truth or Truth. What did you think of this episode? Did Andi have a right to be so mad at Bex? Do you love the Cece and Bex dynamic as much as I do? And what game or board game in your house causes wars with your family? And what do you think Andi should do with this whole situation? Hit me up in the comments with all your thoughts and theories, and then click right over here if you want to know where some of the Easter eggs are in Incredibles 2. Subscribe and hit that thumbs up if you like what you see. My name's Lisa. As always, thanks so much for hanging out with me, and well, shine on, right? No, not the Jimmy Dean sausage shine on. My shine on, because I said it first.